Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. A warm welcome to all the new subscribers and for all those who have been here from the start. I'm so glad you are here. And today's topic is one that I know will resonate with so many of you. It's a topic that it's not talked about, and it's something that it's not discussed at all. It's a topic that, you know see, only when we are on a monadic twin flame journey, and when we are a monadic divine feminine, will we actually resonate with this. And that's why, you know especially if you have been through a deep separation phase, a situation where category 1, your DM, keeps repeating his vices, or category 2, he totally remains silent, you will keep replaying his worst moments with you. And you will resonate with it, with this discourse, because lately the energies have been intense as well, due to the big energetic shift that's going on, where the field between you suddenly changes. That's why the title today says it all. You keep replaying. Why you keep replaying his worst moments? And remember, guys, that's grief, not regression. And I want you to just pause and really feel that for a second. It is very, very painful, especially, when he keeps doing the same thing over again, category 1. Or category 2, he totally ghosts you or dismisses the connection or tells you that he never, ever wants to talk to you again, and dismisses any form of connection, communication, and makes you feel like you are a useless blob. But you see, I want you to feel this for a couple of seconds, because it really hits deep. And because there's not much available, because we often go through this phase in silence, in pain, and because so many monadic divine feminines out there, especially if you guys are on the monadic twin flame path, panic when this happens. We think, oh no, I've gone backwards, because it's always about an upward trajectory, right? You have to keep doing better, you have to keep being better. Only in earthly terms you can keep being better. In a twin flame journey, there is no better or worse. It's all about vibrations, it's all about frequency. So it's not about entering a destination, it's about being who you are from where you are. So that is the reason why, if you go down the trajectory of thinking, I'm gone backwards, you're not healed, you're not detached, but what's going on is you're repressing that feelings, and it's actually bringing you down a rabbit hole, because then you probably have to incarnate right again. If you're going to hold all the sacred rage in, you're probably going to incarnate again. So that's why there is nothing wrong with releasing it, and it's nothing wrong to feel human in your human body. All right, contrary to all the whatever that's up there, the truth is, a spiritual journey, any spiritual journey, is very, very ugly in human terms, but it's in the ugliness through awakening is born. That's why I want to be very, very, very clear with that. And that is why I'm going to show you in this discourse why those emotional flare-ups that you're having, you're not losing progress, you are actually completing your healing cycle, because at the end, everything comes to the surface for you to transmute it. That's why, get over the myth of what you call the clean break. So that's why I want to start with the myth that honestly needs to be destroyed. The idea that once you've detached cords or cleared the field, it's going to be smooth sailing. That you will wake up one day and feel total peace, no triggers, no emotional spikes. Hey, please, that's not how the human nervous system works. Have you totally forgotten about your body? Our soul is residing in this body, which means there is a nervous system. And that's why that's not how the emotional body works. When you have been in a deep energetic bond, especially a monadic twin flame field, your entire system has been running with his frequency in it. All the moments you spend together, all the moments where you wish the happy moments, it would just come back, or you could just freeze the moment and live through those moments again and again and again. And then the worst ones come. So that bond, that field becomes part of your baseline. And when you pull those cords, when you step out of the coherence field, your system doesn't say, cool, we are done. It experiences it as a rupture, as I say in my other discourses. So even if you are the one who initiated it, your field still has to recalibrate without that constant energetic feedback. So what really happens when you are trying to detach? So detachment isn't just a spiritual exercise. It's a full body, multi-layered reconfiguration. All right. So your emotional body, your mental body, and your etheric body have all been wired to the bond with your divine masculine. And when it's cut, of course there's an aftershock. If there is no aftershock, it's not even a twin flame journey. Sorry to break the bubble. And here's the part most people don't talk about. While you were still connected, your subconscious was actively protecting you from the full weight of his worst behaviors, because your psyche on some level needed to preserve the bond. It's like you are looking at him through a rose tinted lens, a slightly softened filter, the filter in our iPhones. And once the cords are gone, that filter drops. And now you see it all, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the ugly often plays on repeat. So let me give you an example. So if he has insulted you by saying something like he's not interested in you, or if he has said something like he never ever wants to talk to you again, or if he says something like or he blocks you action, without words, he just becomes silent, category 2. Or category 1, he's like, despite he wants to be with you, he keeps choosing another person constantly. The ugly plays on repeat. And the worst is category 1, often it's like the divine masculines always reveal their love, but they will choose someone else. So in a way, that's why category, the karmic detourer. And category 2 is the worst. They will try to cut you off at every single opportunity in the most painful, ruthless of ways. And their favorite word would be awkward. You'll be on a freaking public train and they will use the word awkward. It's like what the silent initiate says. Sometimes you'll wonder if they understand language. And category 1, sometimes you'll wonder, you keep saying you love me, but why do you keep choosing someone else? And I've covered this individually in my other discourses. It's a higher self plan. And category 2, you'll be wondering, all the times he was hanging out in your home, in your kitchen, in your life, in your social circles. Every time, you know, you were spending, those moments didn't feel awkward. This moment where you bump into each other again after 3 years, that moment feels awkward. Wow. And that ugly often plays on repeat. That ugly where the category 1 divine masculine constantly chooses someone else, in some cases who may look like you, appear like you, and it's like, is the universe trying to play a joke on you? Or worse, you are 100% compatible, and it's like, why? Because it's safe for them. Category 1, choosing someone else is safe. Category 2, they just can't face the intensity of the connection, so they choose monkhood or external hanging out or whatever. You know, they want to choose that, even though. Another thing you would have noticed is, like, example, if your divine masculine knows that you don't like being blocked, he will purposely do that so that he will break you out of the veil of illusion, for example. You know, he will I really don't want to go there. But never mind. Let me continue with, you know, how the ugly often plays on repeat. And as the divine feminine, the ugly plays on repeat, word for word, detail for detail. And why does the worst moments loop happens? And this is what I call post-coherence collapse memory surfacing. When the shared field collapses, your system is no longer feeding off the third energy in both directions. That means your subconscious finally opens the archive and says, right, time to process all the moments we couldn't process while we were still bonded. So you start remembering the thing he said that crushed you. So it could be the first rejection. I'm not interested in you, category 2. The category 1, the first time he says he loves you, he wants to be with you, but chooses someone else. The look in his eyes when he turned away, you know, where your stomach, your nervous system, everything crashes. Because you're like wondering why. You know, can't she even treat you like a friend? Can't she even treat you with basic human respect? And instead, he would try to even, you know, throw it all on you by saying, try putting yourself in his shoes, for example. And would you do that? And you will be like, you would never do that. That look in his eyes when he turned away, you know, when he disappointed you, when he goes on repeat with old behaviors, the betrayal you rationalized at the time, and those memories don't just pop up once, they loop, not because you're obsessed, not because you've regressed, but because your system is flushing them out. So take a moment, just take a moment, and I just need to take a moment to let all of this seep in. And these memories, like I said, just don't pop up once, they loop, constant loop, especially during heightened periods, astrological periods like Saturn retrograde, post Mercury retrograde. We had a Venus retrograde earlier this year. Also with like Uranus in Gemini, Neptune retrograde. Periods like this, they will play in loop more. And like I said, I'll repeat this again, not because you're obsessed, not because you've regressed, not because your system is flushing them out, but because everything is heightened at this moment. So let's look at regression versus grief. You know, regression is when you're actively reattaching to the old wound and running the emotional entanglement and reinvesting in the dynamic. So grief is when your system is finally releasing what it held onto for survival. of it like like a physical detox. If you go on a cleanse and the toxins leave your body, you might get a headache or a breakout in like a rash or like something. That doesn't mean you're getting more toxic. It means your body is finally expelling it, purging it. Same with emotional flare-ups, the sacred rage, the sacred anger. This is your field purging the residue, things that you never knew existed. You thought you were over it, the hurt, but it actually comes to the surface because it's still deeply connected. And that's why the coherence collapse and nervous system impact is so crucial in the journey. So let's talk about the coherence collapse. In the monadic twin flame context, coherence is the stable, synchronized energy that runs between you when the connection is active. And when that collapses, it's like a sudden drop in pressure in like an aircraft cabin. Your system scrambles to stabilize itself. For you, that might look like sudden surges of anger or heartbreak or tears or fear, feeling off for no obvious reasons, flashback loops of specific moments, where he was extremely mean to you, where he chose someone else right before you, or, he just hurt you in the most brutal way, but still within the twin flame rules of hurting. A strange emptiness followed by like emotional spikes. This is how it would look like. But remember, this isn't punishment from the universe. It's your nervous system finding a new baseline, your frequency without his as a stabilizing pillar. So here's where most divine feminines trip themselves up. You interpret these flare-ups as proof that you're still attached or failing in your healing. So don't panic. Don't judge yourselves. Don't tend to like overcorrect. Don't try to like think that. Don't go into panic either, because then it will start feeding the emotional loop further. Because the truth is, the presence of the flare-up isn't failure. It's data. It's showing you exactly where the pain, where the pain, the cord was feeding into your identity. If you use it consciously, you can actually close the loop faster. So I want you to shift your perspective here. When you replay his worst moments now, it's not because you secretly want to stay in the pain. It's because you're strong enough now to look at them without collapsing. So for example, they post a picture that trigger you, Now when you look at it, it will be like, you'll be able to handle it better. So these memories are coming up for a final review, not for permanent residence. So every time you feel that stink in your tummy, usually it's in the tummy area and the heart and tummy, sacral and heart particularly, this is what you got to remind yourself, that you will not tolerate this again, because this is where you're reclaiming yourself. So let's get very, very practical, all right? Say it out loud. This is grief, not regression. Name the truth that cuts off the shame spiral. Give yourself like a set window, like maybe a couple of minutes, to let the mind replay, cry, rage, then shift. Get up, change rooms, move your body. This is a way of like letting the energies flow, and then anchor your frequency and reframe with conscious closure. When a worst moment surfaces, ask what part of you is being restored by seeing this clearly now. So the higher truth about this stage, you're not back at square one. You're actually completing the healing process. Every flare-up is your soul reclaiming the last fragments of your energy that were left in those moments. This is why the monadic twin flame path, separation isn't just a pause in romance, it's an energetic initiation. And in this initiation, your system purges anything that cannot come into union. The mistake is resisting the grief because you expect healed to feel good all the time. And that's why I say it's not about healed. It's about our body being in a constant state of healing. Every day new cells are born and old cells die. So there is never healed state. Real healing feels raw before it feels light. So remember that. So most people feel this flare up stage anywhere from 2 weeks to 3 months after detachment. It's like a second wave of separation symptoms, but this time it's not about longing for your divine masculine, it's about letting go of hurt. So signs that you're moving through this successfully: you can feel the pain without spiraling back into fantasy. You don't feel the need to contact him just to resolve the memory. You start to notice more neutral moments in your day, and the worst moments lose their emotional charge over time. Sometimes after detachment, you will still dream of him, and these dreams can stir emotions again, or you may not dream at all. This doesn't mean it's coming back, it means your subconscious is still integrating. Think of dreams as the final, let's say, file transfer before the system ejects the drive. So if you're replaying his worst moments now, it's because you can handle the truth without needing to protect the bond. And that's strength, that's freedom, and that's sovereignty. It means you're no longer making excuses for what hurt you. Remember, this is a body process, not just thought process. When the coherent field collapses, your vagus nerve, your heart field, and your entire system starts to recalibrate. This is why grounding and regulation are critical, not just positive thinking. And some of you panic when these flare-ups happen, sacred anger, thinking, if I keep remembering the bad, I'll lose this love. You won't. True monadic twin flame love isn't built on selective memory, it's built on full truth. When you love from truth, not illusion, that's when union, stable union, becomes fully possible. So once you clear the residue of the worst moments, your field holds more capacity for coherence, whether with him in the future or with your own soul. That's the whole point, to hold a stable frequency without distortion. So you will know you have completed the stage when the worst moment feel like factual history, not just open wounds. You can think of him neutrally or fondly without bypassing the truth. You no longer feel compelled to warn your future self not to trust him, because your boundaries are now neutral, and this is a 0 point state, not forced. So next time you catch yourself replaying the moments that broke your heart, don't say, oh no, I'm back at square one. Say, my system is clearing the last debris. This is the final detox before the field stabilizes. That's why this is grief, not regression. It's the sacred shake-up of everything you once accepted so you can never collapse for love again. And that is when, as a divine feminine, you are fully. And it's at this point, and it's at this stage where everything changes. So if you're in this stage and you want guided support to stabilize your field, work through your loops, and anchor your frequency without collapse, you can sign up for my third energy activation healings. I just introduced another one, the one to stabilize your field and to remove the noise as well. So you can check it out in the description. And also, I know this is quite a deep discourse, it might bring back old memories, but they're all coming in again because this is the period of deep purging for those on a monadic twin flame. And that's why, as the divine feminine, it's okay not to feel okay sometimes, and that is the story of being a monadic divine feminine. So if you guys have been experiencing this of late, do share your thoughts in the comments. And also, if you guys want a one-on-one session with me via video call, a psychic session, you can book through my website. The link is provided on description, and I'll try to give you a session 24 hours to 48 hours, as I'll try to squeeze you in, and I'll try to give you the earliest session possible. All right, with that, I'll see you all again with another discourse. I realize my battery is running really low. And take care, and let me know in the comments what you feel. Did this discourse speak to you?